Hello, everyone. Welcome back, channel Go English Talk.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Go English Talk. I'm Mizu, and here we learn English in a simple way, natural, practical, and ready to use in real life.
Hey, friends all around the world. I'm Lucas, and we're really happy you're here with us. Whether you're studying in the morning, at night, or on your lunch break, we're learning together, step by step, nice and easy.
So, Lucas, how has your week been? Busy with classes?
Yes, it's been a full week. I've been preparing lessons and working with students, which I always enjoy. Seeing their progress really motivates me.
I love that. Teaching and learning really go together. When we help others understand, we understand even more deeply ourselves.
Exactly. And speaking of understanding, today's topic might sound a little intimidating at first.
Yes, the name is quite long.
So, what tense are we learning today?
Today, we're learning the past perfect continuous.
That does sound long.
It does, but don't let the name scare you. Sometimes grammar sounds more complicated than it really is.
So is it actually difficult?
Not at all. It's long in name, but simple in idea. Once you understand the timeline, once you feel how the action connects in the past, it becomes very logical.
So, if you've seen this tense before and felt unsure, stay with us. We're going to make it clear and practical.
All right, so let's begin with the most important question. When do we really use the past perfect continuous? Let's get started. All right, Lucas, before we go too far, let's slow down. First things first, what does this tense actually look like?
Good question, Mizu. The structure is very simple. It's subject plus had been plus verbing. That's it.
Had been plus verbing. So, for example,
I had been working.
she had been waiting.
They had been studying.
So, no matter the subject, I, you, he, she, we, they, it's always had been, right?
Exactly. It doesn't change. Always had been. That makes it easier already.
Okay, Lucas, important question. Is this about the present?
No, it's completely in the past. Everything is in the past.
So if I say I had been working, I'm talking about something that was happening before in the past, not now.
Right. It already finished. It's done. We're just looking back at it.
But wait a second, Lucas. Why don't we just use the past continuous? Why not say I was working?
Ah, Mizu, that's the key question.
I knew it. There's always a reason.
Of course there is, and that reason will help everything make sense.
All right, everyone. Now it's getting interesting. So, why don't we just use the past continuous?
Let's talk about that next.
All right, Lucas. So tell me clearly, when do we use the past perfect continuous?
We use it when something was happening before another past action. One long action first, then a second action happens.
So there are two things in the past?
Exactly. Two moments in the past, and the past perfect continuous shows the earlier, longer action.
Okay, give us a real example, Lucas. Something natural.
I had been studying for 2 hours when he called.
All right, let's break that down. Which happened first?
I was studying, and I wasn't studying for 1 minute, it was for 2 hours.
So that's the long action, the background action.
Exactly.
And then what happened?
He called. That's the shorter action. It interrupts the long one.
So first long action, had been studying, then short action, he called.
Yes, that's the timeline.
Okay, Lucas, let's try another one.
Sure.
She had been waiting for 30 minutes when the bus arrived.
Perfect. So which happened first?
She had been waiting. That's the long action.
And then?
The bus arrived. Short action. Boom.
Exactly.
Let's try one more, Lucas. Maybe something different.
All right. They had been playing soccer for an hour when it started to rain.
So we can imagine it, right? They're playing, and then suddenly it starts to rain.
That's it. The past perfect continuous helps us feel that time passing before the second event.
So the core idea is simple. One long action in the past, then another action in the past.
And the long action comes first.
See? Not scary, just a clear timeline.
Once you see the timeline in your head, this tense becomes very logical.
All right, Lucas. Let's go a little deeper. Why don't we just say, I studied? Why do we need had been studying?
Good question, Mizu. We use the past perfect continuous when we want to show that the action lasted for some time. Not just that it happened, but that it continued.
So it's not only about the action, it's about the time.
Exactly. We want to feel the time passing.
Can you give us an example, Lucas? Something real.
Sure. She had been working there for 5 years before she moved.
So first, she worked there for 5 years. That's a long time.
Yes, and then she moved. That's the second action.
If we only say she worked there before she moved, it sounds shorter. We don't really feel those 5 years.
Exactly. The word for helps us show duration.
Ah, so for is common with this tense, right?
Yes, for plus a period of time. For 2 hours, for 5 years, for a long time.
What about since, Lucas?
Good one. We can also use since with a starting point. For example, he had been living in Sydney since 2018 before he decided to move back home.
So we imagine it starting in 2018 and continuing until that second action.
Exactly. That's the feeling.
So why is duration important here? Why do we care about the time?
Because we want the listener to understand that it wasn't quick, it wasn't short, it lasted. The time matters in the story.
So past perfect continuous equals duration plus another past action.
Yes, long action first, then something else happens.
And when you see for or since in a sentence about the past, that's your little signal. Maybe this tense is the right choice.
Exactly. Feel the time. If the time is important, this tense is very helpful.
Okay, Lucas, we talked about duration before another action, but can this tense also show a reason?
Yes, it can. And this is a very natural use. We use it to explain why something happened in the past.
So, it can show cause and effect?
Exactly. We see a result in the past, and we explain it with a longer action before it.
Give us an example, Lucas.
He was tired because he had been running.
Okay, let's break that down. Why was he tired?
Because he had been running.
So we see the result, he was tired, that's clear, and the reason is that he had been running before.
Yes. And notice, it wasn't just one quick run. The tense shows it lasted for some time.
Right. If we say he ran, it feels short, but he had been running feels longer, more continuous.
Exactly. The duration explains the result.
All right, Lucas, let's try another one.
Sure. Her eyes were red because she had been crying.
So we see the red eyes, that's the visible result, and the reason she had been crying.
Yes, the action happened before, and it continued long enough to create a visible effect.
What about something different? Maybe weather?
Good idea. The ground was wet because it had been raining.
Perfect. We see the wet ground, that's the result, and the cause is the rain that had been happening before.
Exactly.
So here's the key idea, everyone. We see a result in the past, tired, red eyes, wet ground, and we use the past perfect continuous to explain the action that had been happening before.
Result first, then the longer action that caused it.
See, this tense isn't just grammar. It helps us tell a clearer story. It helps us explain why.
And once you start noticing cause and result in the past, you'll see many chances to use it naturally.
Oh, everyone, do you remember? In our last video, we learned the past perfect.
Yes, we did. Had plus past participle, right?
Exactly. And today, we're learning the past perfect continuous. Doesn't it sound very similar? Almost the same name?
It really does. They're like close cousins.
So, Lucas, what's the same about them? Let's help everyone connect the dots.
The big similarity is the timeline. Both tenses talk about something that happened before another past action. So in both cases, we're looking back at two moments in the past.
Right. Two past actions, one earlier, one later. That part doesn't change.
Exactly. For example, I had finished dinner when she arrived. First I finished, then she arrived.
So the focus there is that the action was complete, done, finished.
Yes, that's the key. Past perfect focuses on the result or completion.
Okay, so what changes with the past perfect continuous? What's different?
Now we focus on the process or the duration, not just that something happened, but that it was happening for some time before the second action.
So instead of I had finished dinner, we might say,
I had been cooking for an hour when she arrived.
so now we can imagine it. Cooking, cooking, cooking for an hour, and then she arrives.
Exactly. The past perfect focuses on the result, while the past perfect continuous emphasizes the duration and the activity itself.
So they shared the same timeline, but they feel different.
That's a great way to say it, Mizu. Same timeline, different focus.
And that's important, everyone. If you understand the past perfect, you're already halfway there today.
You're not starting from zero. You're building step by step.
See? English connects, and you're doing better than you think. All right, Lucas, let's make this practical. Are there any signal words that can help us notice this tense more easily?
Yes, there are some common words we often see. Not rules to memorize, just little hints.
I like that. Hints, not pressure. So, what are they?
You'll often see words like for, since, before, when, and sometimes because.
Okay, let's take for first. If you see for in a past sentence, should you think about this tense?
Maybe yes, if there's another past action in the sentence.
So not every time we see for, right?
Exactly. For example, I studied for 2 hours. That's just past simple, nothing special.
But if we say,
I had been studying for 2 hours when my friend arrived.
now we have two past actions. The long one with for 2 hours, and then my friend arrived.
Exactly. That's when the past perfect continuous makes sense.
Okay, what about since?
We use since to show a starting point. For example, she had been living there since 2015 before she moved to Canada.
So we imagine 2015 and the action continues from that point until the second event.
Yes, since helps us see the beginning of the duration.
What about when and before, Lucas?
Great question. Those words often introduce the second action.
Like,
I had been driving for 3 hours when I finally stopped. Or they had been arguing before the teacher came into the room.
so when and before often bring in the shorter action.
Exactly. They help show the order of events.
And because.
That one is common when we explain a reason. He was upset because he had been working all night.
So these words are not magic. They don't automatically mean we must use this tense.
Right. They're just clues.
If you see for or since plus another past action, that's your little signal to pause and think.
Exactly. Don't memorize blindly, just understand the timeline and the feeling of duration.
And when you feel that duration before another past moment, this tense will feel natural. All right, Lucas, there's something many learners wonder about. Let's say someone says, I was studying for 2 hours when he called.
Yes, I hear that sentence quite often.
So is this wrong?
Not wrong, but it changes the meaning.
Okay, explain that to me, Lucas. What's the difference?
When we say, I was studying when he called, we're describing a background action. It was happening at that moment.
So it focuses on what was happening at that exact time.
Exactly. But when we say, I had been studying for 2 hours when he called, now we focus on the duration before the call.
Ah, so the difference is what we want to highlight.
Yes. Past continuous highlights the action in progress at that moment. Past perfect continuous highlights how long it had been happening before the second event.
So if I say, I was cooking when you arrived, I'm just describing the background.
Right.
But if I say, I had been cooking for 3 hours when you arrived, now I'm maybe a little tired.
Exactly. Now we feel the 3 hours, the effort, the time.
Let's try another one, Lucas.
Sure.
If it started to rain while they were playing soccer.
That's background, just describing what was happening.
But if we say, they had been playing soccer for an hour when it started to rain.
Now we feel the full hour before the rain came.
So it's not about right or wrong, it's about focus.
Exactly. Background action or duration before another event.
When you choose the tense, just ask yourself, do I want to show what was happening at that moment, or do I want to show how long it had been happening before?
Once you ask that question, the choice becomes much clearer.
All right, Lucas, I think this is the most important part. Can you imagine a line in your head? Just a simple timeline.
Yes. Picture a straight line. On the left, something starts. It continues for some time, then later, another action happens.
So, first, long action.
And then, short action.
That's it. That's the whole logic.
Exactly. Past perfect continuous is the long action. Past simple is the short action that interrupts or follows it.
Okay, Lucas, let's paint the picture with an example.
Sure. I had been driving for 3 hours when my car broke down.
So we imagine you on the road, driving for 3 hours. That's the long line.
And then suddenly, the car broke down. Short moment.
Long action first, short action second.
Exactly.
Let's try another one.
All right. She had been practicing the piano for months when she finally won the competition.
So we see months of practice, day after day. That's the long line.
And then one day, she won. That's the short, important event.
The win is short. The practice was long.
Yes, that's why we use the past perfect continuous for the practice.
Okay, one more, Lucas. Something emotional, maybe.
Sure. They had been arguing for an hour before they decided to apologize.
So we imagine a full hour of arguing. That tension builds up.
And then comes the decision, they apologized. That's the short action.
So when you feel a long action building up before a specific moment in the past, that's your signal.
The long action comes first, and we use the past perfect continuous for that. The short action comes after, and we use the past simple for that.
You can see the line in your mind, you won't get lost.
Exactly. Don't think of grammar rules. Think of the story. Think of the timeline.
All right, everyone. Now it's your turn. Let's make this more personal.
Yes. Instead of answering our sentence, create your own sentence using the past perfect continuous.
Think of a small story, something simple. Start with I had been, and then add the second past action.
For example, you could write, I had been studying for 3 hours when my friend called.
Another example, I had been working all day before I finally took a break.
Or maybe something fun. I had been watching TV for 2 hours when the power went out.
Or something emotional. I had been waiting for a long time before the bus finally arrived.
Now it's your turn. Write one sentence about your own life.
Keep it simple. Don't worry about big vocabulary. Focus on the timeline. Long action first, then short action.
We'll read your sentences in the comments. Let's practice together.
All right, Lucas. Before we finish, let's keep everything simple. What are the key ideas we should remember?
First, it's completely in the past. We're always looking back.
Second, it shows duration before another past action. A long action first, then something else happens.
Exactly.
And third,
It often explains a reason. We see a result, and the past perfect continuous tells us what had been happening before.
and the structure?
Simple. Had been plus verb ing. That's it.
So, Lucas, is it scary?
No.
Is it useful?
Very.
See, the name is long, but the idea is clear.
Focus on the timeline. Feel the duration. That's all you need.
Before we say goodbye, let's remember something important. English isn't about long names.
It's about clear ideas. When the idea is clear, the grammar becomes easier.
Feel the timeline. Feel the duration. If you can imagine the story in your head, you can choose the right tense naturally.
Don't try to memorize everything. Try to understand. That's how confidence grows.
If this lesson helped you, please like the video and share it with a friend who's learning English too.
And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep learning together, step by step.
Practice a little every day. Even 10 minutes is enough.
We'll see you in the next Go English video.
See you next time.